Hi guys, it's Ryan Norberg with Racers360. Today we're going to do a track guide of Homestead karting or AMR karting complex. Before we get into it though, I just want to start this video out by talking about how this track drives and the characteristics of this track. It's a very aggressive track. There's a lot of curbing that you have to hit, and there's a lot of exit curbing that makes the track quite rough. It also has a lot of curbing that you have to jump that bottoms the go-kart out and is really aggressive on your hands and on the go-kart. This track really rewards drivers who push the limits of the kart every corner, and that's just something you really need to focus on before you come to this racetrack. It's one of the main tracks we drive during the winter series times, so just focus when you come here on pushing the go-kart to the limit and really trying to get everything you can out of this kart every single corner, because this track really rewards drivers that do that. So with that being said, let's get started on the video. Heading down the front straightaway, hard braking into turn one. It's really important to get the kart slowed down and get the weight on the nose of the go-kart. A lot of these 90-degree corners on this track are really quick. So you want to get the weight to the front of the go-kart quick. You want to turn the steering wheel, and then you want to get the kart back straight for the launch you get over the curbs. You don't really want to have any input in the steering wheel when you get over these curbs, because immediately as you go into the corner and you hit the curb with some input, you're going to immediately get counter steer and you're going to kind of wash off corner. So as we enter turn one, hard brake, quick turn on the steering wheel, and try to get the kart straight to launch over this curb. You'll see as we get close to the corner how straight the steering wheel is going over the corner, so you get a nice launch, nice smooth launch over this first curb. Not much upset of the go-kart, but nice smooth over the curb, pretty straight, a little bit of counter steer because it still had a little bit of wheel in it, but you still want to get a smooth hit over that curb so you come out and you don't bruise your ribs or bruise the go-kart up and slow too much time down. Now entering into turn two, another hard braking zone. Again, you want to hit this curb as well. A little bit different than the last one because you just kind of want to drive up to this one and roll over it and have it pull you through the corner. This corner is really important for the setup from 3 to the turn 4, which is a passing zone. So you really want to focus on kind of giving this corner up and making sure you get a nice exit off this so you're set up from 3 to 4 and you get a nice run down there. So hit turn 2 curb, roll off of it. Don't use too much track on exit. You want to keep it nice and smooth so that you can get a nice straight line over the turn 3 curb and you get a nice run down into 4. And from this point on, you should be relatively flat out. Should just be an easy run down to 4 and just a nice passing zone spot. So really focus on getting in here and getting in, fast and not using too much track off corner. 3, flat out, launch over the curb. 4 is another heavy braking zone. There's 2 hairpins on this track, and they're back-to-back, so 4 and 5 are your 2 hairpins. They're the most important passing zones on the racetrack, so they're very important. Obviously, you wanted to get a good run out of 3 so you get a nice run into 4 and pass possibly, but especially out of 4, you want to get a good run so you can pass going into 5 because that's the next best passing zone. For this corner, it's hard to see when you're not actually at the racetrack, but there is a little bit of an elevation change. It goes from kind of lower elevation on entry into the corner to a higher elevation on exit. So when you enter the corner, if you turn in too late, you'll actually miss the climb up on the elevation and you'll end up washing out and understeering wide off the track. So for this corner, it's really important to get in nice heavy on the brakes, but to kind of turn the kart in a little bit earlier like I'm doing and position the kart a little bit earlier so that you can get up that slight elevation change and the kart just doesn't understeer wide and you just wash off on exit. Brake late, back on the gas, late, getting a nice smooth acceleration down to the next corner. This corner is very hard braking. You want to enter this corner with a lot of speed and really get the weight on the nose of the go-kart. This is one of the tightest hairpins we have in the entire series. Most of the tracks in America don't have hairpins this tight. So you really want to get in there hard and get on the brakes so all the weight gets on the front of the go-kart and you can really get the kart rotated and back pointed the other direction. You really need to focus on getting the kart slowed down, but also not slowing it down too much because obviously there's a gain and a loss you can get here. You can go in fast, but obviously you lose on exit. And if you go in too slow, you'll gain on exit, but people will be able to pass you going into the corner. So there's a lot you can gain and you can lose in this corner. But really focus on getting in there late, getting in there hard on the brakes, and really leaning on those front tires as you get into the corner. Braking, nice late acceleration. There's a quick left-hander right after it, so you really don't want to use that much track off of this corner either. You really need to focus on getting on the gas late so that you can keep the cart more to the right side of the track, so that when you go to make this left and you have to hit that curb, you're hitting it straight and you're not bouncing off of it. From 5 to about turn 7, all these corners are just constantly turning. You're constantly turning, so you don't want to give up too much exit off the corner that you didn't have to. You want to keep it as tight as you can so you can position yourself for all of these corners, and you can position yourself to take an opportunity on a driver if that presents itself. So again, coming out of 5, bit tight, you want to let the cart come out, but not too wide, bit tight so you can get a nice run over the curb there. Now heading into these double rights, it's really important to carry a lot of speed in this section. This part of the track rubbers up quite a bit, so you want to get in there a lot of speed. I like to drive up to that curb we just passed, just a little bit past it, I stay on the throttle, and then from there, I'm just lifting and coasting all the way to the time I get to that next curb. That's kind of how I judge that whole section. Driving really hard, get a lot of load on the front tires, maybe a little brake if the tires start to fall off. But again, you want to be carrying a lot of speed in and then getting on the gas nice and late in this corner and just carrying that speed through the whole corner. Again, this corner kind of sets up your next corner. So you want to focus on keeping the cart just a little bit tight off corner so that you have a nice run for this next left-hander. So you want to keep it more to the right side of the track off this corner so you get a nice run down, setting up for the straightaway 90s going on. So nice tight exit, little early entry into here. This one's just a quick kind of lift and then back to the power. And now the 90s are the most important part of the track, obviously because they lead onto the hairpin, but physically for your body, this section is really painful if you hit it wrong. A lot of the guys that get rib injuries here, it happens from driving improperly. It doesn't happen if you drive the track correctly. If you drive the track correctly, you shouldn't have too many rib problems. You might get a little bruised up here and there, but it's the mistakes here that cost you. In this section, there's so much curbs and so high intensity and high speed that one little mistake can shoot you wide and you're bouncing over some curbs and you can really mess up your ribs. So this section is really important. It's very fast. On new tires, this section is almost flat out, but it's about how you angle the go-kart in these seconds where you have just a little bit of lift or just that little bit of initial turn in that really make the difference in this whole section. So quick into here, you see quick flick of the steering wheel, really focus on getting the cart rotated so that I can get over these curbs and hit as much of it as I can. The more I take of this curb, normally the better the cart feels because you're not bottoming out yet and you're just kind of clearing it over and you're landing on the other side. Don't go too far, obviously, because eventually you will bottom out. But if you get just enough, there's a sweet spot where you'll go through and you won't feel really any bump or anything. And you can be an easy flat out off the corner. All the way to the full track. Again, flat out, run a little wide on exit. That just helps clear the go-kart up and just get the cart running down straight. But again, you just want to make sure you're hitting these curbs nice and in the right spot, turning hard initially to get the cart straight over that curb. And once you get over that curb, you're back to the power, back flat out, and you want to keep your hands as smooth as possible and as stiff as possible. Something that I like to do through that section is, before I even enter it, I position myself a little bit so that my outside arm is pushing on the steering wheel. And that way I just get that little extra bit of pressure on that side to keep the cart from, reacting super hard. If I can keep my arm there and keep it stiff, I can keep a good pressure around that whole section and kind of counteract the little kickbacks that I'll get out of the steering wheel. Down the straightaway. And then again, light brake over that curb and back to this start finish line. Again, this is an aggressive track, so it rewards drivers who are aggressive and who push the go-kart. If you want more track guides like this, make sure to check out Racers360 and all the other track guides we're going to be bringing in the future. I'm super excited to bring some more to you guys and just kind of give you an idea of how to get around these racetracks, because it really helps just to get that next step and that next edge on everybody else before you even get to the track. Also, if you want to do coaching with me or any of our other guides, feel free to check out Racers360 and to see what we have to offer on there. Thank you guys for watching, and here's a lap around Homestead Karting or AMR Karting Complex.